okay in Taiwan, but we have a lot of maker and team member to work together and to research about this kind of valve and how to help other countries or share our experience to around the world. And the third one is this one. This is the swab. You can see this is 3D printed swab. So this swab is very easy for the doctor to detect for the coronavirus virus. And in some countries, maybe the swab is a limit, but we can use a 3D printer to print it out. So this is a very short introduction, and I hope that we can discuss more. And I also provide my slide on the chatbot. So maybe have more interest, we can discuss more. And the last is we have to want to say hello to the world. This is Fab Lab Tainan. Say hi to the world. Okay, so this is my short introduction. Hello the world. Let's work together. Thank you.
No, you can go with the presentation now.
Okay. So
go ahead.
Presentation. Okay.
Yeah, go ahead. Share screen.
Okay, let me share my screen. Okay, so can everyone see my screen? Okay.
Yeah.
So I just very fast to do for my introduction. Hello everyone, my name is Chen, and I'm now the OSMS organization Taiwan, and also I'm the Medical Fab Lab NDMC founder. Medical Fab Lab NDMC is a medical fab lab because our fab lab is in the hospital. When I was a university student, I started. Okay, and I also joined the How to Grow Almost Anything that with the Kaushik and Church. Yeah, since 2016. Yeah, and I'm now work at the National Defense Medical Center and Tri-Server General Hospital, Taipei, Taiwan, and also do for the medical 3D printer research. Okay, so I just very started to introduce myself. Actually, this is my freshman in a university. I just go to the Fab Lab Taipei and learn a lot of Fab Lab and knowledge. And I think it's very useful. And I want to set up a Fab Lab in our medical school. So I just go to the Fab Lab Taipei and learn from the Tat Hong. And we just started my first 3D printer in my bed. So this is my bed. I work with my medical student, yeah, my roommate. And then we started the space in our medical center. So you can see this is a very started about my hospital lab. Okay. And we call this NDMC. NDMC is National Defense Medical Center. It's one of the military hospital in Taiwan. And I want to set out a space that include a lot of doctor and nurse, was medical student, or an engineer, or maker, or fab labber to work together. And I also cooperate with the Heidelberg University. And just when I was second grade of the university, I just visited the Heidelberg. So we have a close connection with the Heidelberg, and the founder of the Fab Lab Heidelberg is Dr. Hannes. And I also go to the MIT Media Lab when I was third grade of the university. So I just joined the How to Grow Almost Anything in the Media Lab. So you can see this is the Bio Academy. It's not only the Fab Academy, it's the next. And the teacher is the George Church, David Kong, and Neil Gershfer, and Jean-Michel. And we just do a lot of kind of biofabrication in this research. And I also go to the MIT Data Center for the visit student. I just learned a lot from the Polina professor and learn how to use the 3D printer and medical image to segmentation the heart. So we do a lot of research on the medical image transformation to the 3D printer and to make a lot of anatomical models for the doctor. And I also go to the Harvard Medical School for advanced research and work with their 3D printer center in the Boston Children's Hospital. And we have a symposium with the Harvard Medical School. Okay, so back to the COVID-19. Actually, everyone knows that COVID-19 is a very serious cases, and everyone is very now fighting with the COVID-19. And you can see this is the map of the COVID-19. And this is, I think it's very more serious recently. Yeah, this is the formal information. And what in Taiwan, how we started. Actually, we started our project just 2 months and 3 months ago. And when I was involved discussion with the nurse team, they are thinking about how to use the face shield, but at that time they didn't have a lot of face shield in the hospital. So they use the garbage bag or something like. They think this may more protect them. So I'm thinking about how to use a 3D printer to produce the face shield and to protect everyone in the hospital, which to protect a lot of the people to face the COVID-19. So this is the very first version that we do. So you can see we do a lot of just like the glass version and forehead version. Yeah, can see. Okay, this is the glass version, and I just use my professor's glass and to edit this file and to become the face shield. And I think there's a lot of need in the hospital, you can see. So we very fast use the 3D printer in our hospital and to make a little production and to use a 3D printer to print a lot of face shield and to provide the nurse and the doctor in our hospital. And then there's a more hospital and nurse, they say they needed the face shield. So we just design a lot of kind of version and share our file to the Taiwan maker and also share to the world. So we have more maker involved our project. Okay, so you can see this is some version. The first one is a glass version and forehead version. And we just do a little mass production with the 3D printer. And we also have some medical students design how to placement the facial and the comparison with the traditional and 3D printer. It's more light and easy and maybe can throw away.
Danny, you have 1 minute.
Yeah, okay. So very fast to share our, we will also use the laser cutter and to use, and this is the ear hook. And this is another project that in our Taiwan team to do for the respirator project. And this is another for the support of the mask. And so for these cases, we have a team just called Open Source Medical Supply in Taiwan. And this is the team that connect around the world. So there's a lot of countries have the OSMS around the world. And I think I'm very happy to involve this project, and I welcome all the people and all the makers around the world to join the OSMS. And I also think that Taiwan can provide our experience, and Taiwan can help, and Taiwan is helping. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Danny. And now we go to America. Tom, can you present yourself super quickly and then go with your presentation? You're muted.
Good morning, everyone, or good evening, wherever you're located. I'm Tom Dubrick, and I'm the Fab Lab Director at Charlotte Latin. Over here is Dr. Fagan. We're going to kind of slide in and out because of social distancing, so he's got a mask on, and we're back. And we are a Fab Lab and part of the Fab Foundation. Very proud of that. We're a node, so we do training every year as well with the Fab Academy. Dr. Fagan is a guru and an engineering professor at UNC Charlotte. Like I said, I'm the Fab Lab Director here. I'm also a teacher at the school. What we really want to talk to you about is how the community can come together, start producing PPE, and then how you move that into manufacturing. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and grab the slide, share screen here. Say share. Okay. Do you see me now? Do you see what 50 years from now, grandma and grandpa, what did you do during the pandemic? Yeah, I think I got nods, yes. All right, good, everybody's nods. So this is really a slide that we challenged our students with and everything else. What are you doing through the great pandemic? It's 50 years from now. What did you do during that pandemic? And so I'm going to give a brief history of how we got started, how we got through the 3D printing stage of it. Then Dr. Fagan's going to go on and talk about how we manufactured and really ramped these things up and what we're going to do in the future. So the next slide here is a young lady named Katie Chai. She was a graduate from Fab Academy. We're the only Fab Lab that consistently has a focus on high school students and doing Fab Academy. We're very proud of that. So Katie graduated from last year from Fab Academies, but she's still a student here at Charlotte Latin. Both her parents are doctors. And back March 17th, she called me at home over our spring break and said, can we use the Fab Lab to make PPE for doctors? I'm very worried. I'm concerned about my parents. I'm concerned about their friends and all the nurses and everyone. So that's how we got started all on this. We were highly inspired by the folks in Italy that made an open source part that they then could share on their ventilators. So very quickly, we developed our own. We did a really quick respirator from cardboard. We did a shield. Then Prusa came out with a shield. So I would say in the community at large, we used what was out there to start manufacturing 3D print these. Really important, and that's the great thing about a 3D printer, we would say, is we immediately started getting feedback from our nurses and doctors on these shields. So that way we could figure out what we could change, how effective it was, and the reliability issues. With that in mind, we started scaling up the local community of 3D printers, and we started printing out all kinds of face shields. And we were printing those out in the hundreds per day. Now, Dr. Fagan's going to take over, and we're going to go from hundreds a day to thousands per day to get to our number.
All right, so how's everybody doing? My name is Terrence Fagan. What we did is we quickly realized that the need was going to outpace the demand. I mean, the need was going to outpace what we can produce with 3D printers. We were in touch with local hospitals and local regional hospitals around North and South Carolina, realized that they needed thousands per day rather than hundreds. So we can't do that with 3D printing unless we had a 3D print farm, but then the quality goes down, all this other stuff. So we needed to quickly ramp up to design and manufacturing. So we actually took feedback from doctors, feedback from healthcare professionals, feedback from nurses. We modified our designs within a matter of 4 or 5 days. I was able to get 3 injection molders online. From that, we took those designs, we modified them for injection molding, because you can't just injection mold 3D printed parts very easily. So we modified the designs, we met as a design team. Then we went and started mass producing these within a week. We modified again the design a little bit from their feedback with the injection molding companies. So that's a good representation of what the Fab Lab can do and also ramp up. Within a matter of weeks, we were able to produce 5 to 10,000 of these a day. Currently, if you look on our screen, Charlotte Medi is what we've kind of organized ourselves with. It's not just the Fab Lab here, it's a local group of UNC Charlotte faculty, students, Charlotte Latin faculty, students, the makerspace here, a bunch of entrepreneurs here, 3D printing and helping out. Distribution was a large portion of these, because once you're producing 5,000 a day, they become very difficult to organize. So we were actually we were given a warehouse to work out of, took all social distancing, really got that down to a science. We started out with laser cutting the visors, but in order to get to that much, we needed to not just, we put them in large format large format CNC machines, so we can start the process, and then also laser cut. We had multiple companies work with us there. So it's, like I said, we went from hundreds to thousands. We've produced and distributed throughout the region 106,000 shields. We've shipped up to New York. We shipped out to the West Coast. We shipped out to Chicago. And we also helped, knowing this, with this model of design to manufacture real quick, this rapid response, we were able to get up to New Jersey, New York up to speed, place in Colorado, and I think India. Was it
Right.
India? India was another one that we've helped out. So we focused on that. We have other projects going, Tom, if you want to look at.
Also, any of the stuff we have, we're at open source, happy to share whatever we've come up with, including the files to make molds. Let me take that off. You don't always have to do injection molding to speed up. So here's just a mold cast. If you can see this right here. Well, wait a minute. Let me go back to sharing screens right over here. Let me go. Let me see, how do I pop that? Stop yours, stop share. Okay, right up here. So you can do soft molds, which will go much faster than, say, 3D printing, and you can get consistency. The issue with 3D printing too is if it's consumer type 3D printing, their tolerances aren't super great. So what that's for is a striker shield. So there's a mod you can do on striker shields that these things, I see some people smiling, so they're working on the mods. There's a bunch of open source stuff out there for these too. The whole idea is you get filters running through these air. If you're a doctor and you're wearing that and she's wearing this, they kind of look like, to me, like spacesuits. And so there's one mod put out by Duke where you put filters on the end of this. And then there's another mod, which we won't drag over here, that we're using this frame that I'm taking out of the mold. Looks like this. Yeah, Terrence, can you show them this? So here's basically what they were using to begin with. So we took that design, improved it. We're now making this. And so the doctors, this is very inexpensive. You can buy the mod for like 550 bucks, not from us, this kind of mod like this for like 550. Well, we can get these and make these for less than 20 bucks. So this way it really serves a lot more people. And again, here's the form that we're using on this that you can see. They can get a good consistency that you don't have 3D print. Do you want to talk about the mask?
Yeah, we can share the screen.
Yep.
So that's one of the
We only
projects.
have 1 minute.
Thank you, ma'am. I share the screen. Let's see, let's share here. Let's share here. So, so where is the?
Oh, there you go. Go down it.
So one thing that we're doing is we're looking at the respirators now. We've designed a couple iterations. We're actually going into clinical trials with the local hospitals now. We're recognizing that people are still needing N95s. This is not an N95. This is what we're calling a near N95 because we're still trying to get the fit. We're rushing through this through the FDA. We are, again, we have mini clinical trials going out to about 25, 30 healthcare professionals this week. And we're using the same process and getting feedback from doctors and healthcare workers to improve this design. So with that, I think that's
it. Just again, it's the community at large here in Charlotte that's really helped.
and it's not just
The Maker community, Charlotte and UNC Charlotte, but really the Maker community, everybody coming together. And that's one of the big powers of 3D printing, get everybody out. Also, I would say a GoFundMe page is good. And it's not just for the money, it's to get the word out on what you're doing. So then other people approach you and help.
Yeah, it's been an awe-inspiring experience, the community of Charlotte to come together and help out the healthcare workers and also in the country itself. So thank you for your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Tom and team. Now we're going to Europe, and here we have Nuria that will be representing and explaining a little bit more what has happened. Oh, and that part of the world with the Fab community.
Okay, hello all. I'm Nuria Robles. I'm the manager from Fab Lab León in Spain. León is a small city at the north of Spain, and we have almost 100,000 people. So we are in a national network that who has the big numbers. So I will give my point of view, and then I will give also the national numbers for the PPA. So we as Fab Lab Leon are part of the Fab Lab Network, and also are instructors of the Fab Academy and Fab Academy programs. Our Fab Lab is inside a non-profit foundation that is part of a local business, a local small company that works in the railway facilities. So I think I will start to my presentation, because I have prepared a very small presentation, and I hope you like it. So okay, so this is in a map where we are at the south of Europe and the north of Spain. This is the picture of our Fab Lab that is a normal, a usual Fab Lab, and also has a co-working space. And I want to refer 5 dates very crucial for me. The first one is the 12th of March, that started at the national community, that it's called coronavirusmakers.org. On the 14th of March, there was announced the national lockdown, so everyone comes to our home. We started the lockdown 2 days before the lockdown, the national announcement. On the 18th of March, in Leon, in our city, was created a Telegram group, because the Telegram groups started to create on 12th of March, and it splits in a lot of Telegram groups, maybe 800,000 of people. That it's crazy to follow all the messages. And on 20th of March, Fab Lab Leon starts to Fab, and I will say you why we decide to start. And on 20th of April, Leon Hospital starts to deliver approved fail-safes 1 month later. So, to be honest, my idea at the beginning of the lockdown was be happy in my house, start to sew in my sewing machine, and I joined other makers community that are in our city and in all parts of the world, because almost all families have a sewing machine at their homes, and everybody knows how to use these machines. It's easy, almost easy for everybody. So I started to make some masks and some overcoats made for garbage bags, because we knew that hospitals didn't have these equipment for their workers. So this is what I did almost all the nights in the first 2 months. So in 20th March, so it's like 6 days after lockdown, because all the makers with a 3D printer at home wanted to start to 3D print, but they didn't have any approved PPE. So it was like a problem, because nobody wants to start to print something that it was not approved. So we have a meeting with our teamwork, and one of my colleagues' wife is a doctor, and she showed us this picture. This is like seat with a rubber, and this was what they were using at the hospitals. So when we saw this picture, we started to work. And started with Telegram groups and so on, and the local news was very active, and our phone of our labs was connected to my personal phone. So lots and lots and lots of calls come to my phone, and more than 200 of local makers start to work. So we are in a group, we as a Fab Lab are in a group of makers, as the opposite of the normal thing. And as I told you at the beginning, we are part of a national group that is called Coronavirus Makers. At the final of April, we were fabricating more than 800,000 head masks, more than 200,000 air savers, and so on. And we also create a web page for the city of León, where everybody could ask for protection, or could donate some materials, could donate money, and could donate also their own 3D printer. These are the numbers. The top are the national numbers, then the city of León, and at the top are the numbers of the Fab Labs that are very low, but we are only 3 people working at the Fab Lab. So these are the greetings from the hospital workers, because we only ask them for a picture, preferable a selfie, and they put thank you Fab Lab León, or thank you all the community. That here behind each picture are very marvelous history, like people that is working with cancer patients that don't have any protection, and came to my home asking for protection. So that is very grateful for me. Sorry, I cannot. Okay, so we got some collaboration, some donation, collaboration for local forces like the postal courier, Correos. They came to our lab to pick the face shields, and they deliver it to all the hospitals. We received some acrylics, some polypropylene, and some rubber for the masks. And as I said you before, there was a big company, not that so big, but it's a local company here in León that could produce almost 1 million masks, face shields, sorry, 1 million in a week. So when I hear this number, I called him, I called the CEO, I wrote him, and then he phoned me, and I tell him, thank you so much for producing so big numbers for us. So in the 20th of April, the hospital of León gives the people the workers in the hospital this approved PPE for all the workers. So our work was almost done. Yeah? No, because there are some sectors of our region that continuing without protection. So they come to our lab asking for the protection. At the same point, they give us some pictures and so on. So this is my last question, because they wanted to give us money for the protection, and we didn't want to receive money. So the question was, when we can stop or begin a business or continuing with a philanthropic work. So this is all. Thank you, everyone, and I will wait your questions. Thank you so much.
Yeah, for all of the speakers, questions are under Q&A. You can type them, or you can we can go at the end and answer them all together. So thank you so much, Nuria. And now we're going to South Asia with Nishtha. Hi, Nishtha, you can present yourself and go with your presentation.
Hi, Norella. Hi, everyone. This is Nishtha from South Asia. I'll share the screen. So I hope it's all visible.
Yes, we can see it now.
Okay, so before I begin with my presentation, I would actually like to focus on certain things we thought were important. We had a lot of volunteers with us in our community, and one of the things, or three of the things we thought they would need were something like, so we told them that they would get experience, hands-on experience with prototyping, and they would also get certificates, which basically help them gain more confidence in volunteering with our community. I would start with my presentation with my first country, that is Bangladesh. Bangladesh is basically working majority with the collaboration with innovation hubs and Field Ready. They have produced around 2,500 plus face shields and disinfection chambers. They're presently working on ventilators and PCR analysis, UV light-based disinfection chambers. They began first with Prusa's face shield, and eventually they moved on to some Switzerland-based community, which designed a new kind of face shield. And right now they're still working on improvising the face shield because that's what they believe has the highest demand. So Fab Lab Bangladesh is known as Fab Lab Shere Bangla Agriculture University. This is the Prusa face shield, and these are the on-ground equipments and accessories they've been making for the industries in their country. And this is the direct ground impact this Fab Lab is having in Bangladesh. Moving on, they were also covered in one of the newspapers called Daily Star, wherein their efforts to curb coronavirus was covered. So because we're short in time, so I'll move on to first cover all the South Asian countries, and then probably in the end, I'll give my introduction. So Pakistan is another country which is presently working on ventilators. So they're working on repairing ventilators. They are using technology and rapid prototyping for making disinfectant gates and automatic hand sanitizer dispensers to tackle the spread of coronavirus. Their main focus is also on the safety equipment, which they are building for all the labs and all the innovation hubs which are helping make face shields. So moving on, India. So in India, one of the major states is Fab Lab is Kerala. So Kerala in 2018, this state had an outbreak of Nipah, that's a brain damaging virus. So the term like quarantine and isolations are actually regular words for Kerala, because they have been one of the successful states in tackling the outbreak with the strategy of tight surveillance and contact. So Super Fab Lab Kerala, they have assisted industries with the resources and capabilities in replicating the machine parts. So they've been helping industries repair their machines during the lockdown. And they are also making ventilators. So this is a project called Breath of Hope. This is a volunteer group supported by Kerala Startup Mission and Super Fab Lab at Kochi, in which they have developed a respiratory apparatus which could potentially free up ventilators for critical patients. Moving on, they have also worked on Hood of Shield, which is an aerosol proof of PPE for doctors and medical professionals. This has an active positive airflow, built-in microphone and speaker, facilitating effortless communication during the surgery. They're also presently working on IR-based contactless thermometers, ventilator valves to control POT. And they are also actually fabricating reusable masks, and they're working on this presently. They've also used cloud-based pulse oximeter pavilion, which is also in progress. Moving on, Vigyan Ashram is another Fab Lab, which is one of the oldest Fab Labs in India. So they also started with face shields with an open source design from obviously our other Fab Labs in our global network. And they had around 7,000 plus face shields distributed in the community. So because Fab Lab is an isolated space and they have a lot of human resource, they've been focusing on organic farming, hydroponic farming, and solar pumps to sustain the community in the lockdown. So they've also built fish ponds and grey water recycling. People who've been to Vigyan Ashram must have seen these, but right now they are not only doing it for ashram, they're also doing it for the community. They also started with online training for all the students and makers in the districts, happen to be there in Pune. So that is one of the, I would say, an quick effort to actually aware in their local language. So that is something which is missing in certain parts of the world. They've also focused on production of potatoes, because we actually in the lockdown, we had shortage of a lot of resources, even food and vegetables and fruit. So they focused on organic farming and local production of potatoes. Moving on, they focused on disinfection chambers, and they installed hand washing stations in the community and in the village. They've been working on UV cabinet, and they have also fabricated a UV torch for disinfection. All right, so next is Maker Asylum from Mumbai in India. So Maker Asylum, with the thought that self-sufficient and sustainable local ecosystem will be the new form of post-COVID, for the true spirit of making in Maker Asylum, launched a fundraiser campaign called M19, in which they cover not only Fab Labs, but all the maker spaces, major maker spaces in India. They started with the thought of giving it out around 1,000 face shields for healthcare workers, but they outsourced the design and activated 42 cities and towns and villages across India to promote local manufacturing and distribution. So they raised around 25 lakhs, that $35,000, and they were able to produce more than lakh face shields, and they also open sourced this design. So this is one of the images from their campaign. So the best part is they've isolated their whole team inside the makerspace, and they've been producing this in isolation. So next is Fab Lab Chandigarh. So myself being from Fab Lab Chandigarh, I can speak about our journey as a Fab Lab, which will be actually compared with the government organizations in my last slide. So as a Fab Lab, we began our material research in first week of March. Being the only Fab Lab in the state, we took an immediate action to produce open source design face shields like this one. And this was our first order for donations across the city. We got a lot of response and feedback from the doctors. So we also got a lot of participation from the community, which was, this is actually first time that Chandigarh community was part of digital fabrication and rapid prototyping. So this was a first step towards it. Then we moved on to improvising a design to making frameless face shields, because we got in feedback from our users about the frames breaking up. So these are few images of a direct impact on the local users. So vegetable vendors, gardeners, security guards. So we got a lot of response from the outside users, which actually shared that it was too hot to wear these face shields outside. So we moved on to designing a face shield which actually swivels up and down. So this was our locally designed and produced. So later on, after we donated around 5,000 plus face shields, we got an encouragement from the government, and we were able to distribute to the mayor and the governor, and we got certain coverage on news. And this led to a nice, rise in the production of our face shields, as well as the Fab Lab culture, basically, to, produce and to locally distribute. We also started producing PPEs. So PPEs, we got a medically approved material, and we focused on PPEs. So Fab Lab Nagpur is another Fab Lab. Fab Lab Nagpur is also focused on intubation boxes and disinfectant chambers, face shields. They were the first Fab Lab to be part of M19 campaign. All right, so right now, after looking at all these data and all the efforts by all the amazing Fab Labs doing their best, this is a graph which basically shows how a Fab Lab rises while producing from production to distribution of face shields. And down you'll see the government graph. So government has to basically go through kickoff meetings, government discussions, then decide the project scope, then get some validation from the government, then they have to design review, then they have to test it, then they have to revise it, then they will look for approval. So this take a lot of time. So Fab Labs were the first ones to give an immediate response within a week in our South Asia. So if the advantage is that we were able to revise our design while distributing. So as soon we were distributing, we were getting response and feedback from all the users, and we were able to iterate different designs. So I would say when everything went down, Fab Labs came up, but when everything came back, Fab Labs productions went down. So they were not able to produce. If you see, it went all the way up, and then suddenly the production started going down. So what can we do about it? This is one of the survey from OSOM, in which they said that India and South Asia has maximum production of PPEs. So what can yeah, thank you, Norella. So what can we do about this? I'll just share.
Yeah, we're seeing your screen.
Yeah, so this is DRDO. It's a defense organization of Indian government. So because they need Fab Labs, maker spaces, hacker spaces to respond and to help them develop their products, they have kept everything open. They have disclosed all their resources online on their website, showing all the products they're making, all the scientists who are working on, and all the industries which are manufacturing, because industries cannot manufacture and improve the design side by side. So they are looking forward to connect with Fab Labs and maker spaces to develop their design and help them iterate with better solutions. So they have, if you see, they have also mentioned the product, the laboratory it is working on, and the industry, as well as the person who is responsible. So anyone can actually take this product, develop it locally, and help government and sync their efforts with government so that the production and the needs are met on time. Moving on, last slide. So I'm Nishtha Kaushik, and I was representing South Asia, having a master's in sociology, and I'm pursuing my doctorate on Fab Labs and their impact on social development. I'm presently a Fab Lab manager for Fab Lab Chandigarh. I am holding dual academy. If anyone is interested to get in touch to work on different iteration of face shields or PPEs or equipments, we are open for discussion. Thank you so much. I hope I was on time.
Almost. Thank you so much. And now we're going around the world, and now we're going with Felicity. Felicity, are you there? I'm not seeing you.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, hi Felicity. You can introduce yourself and start your presentation.
Oh, hi everyone. Thanks, Norella. Yes, so I'm Felicity Mecha. Let me begin sharing my screen. From Nairobi, Kenya. Oh, wait, yeah. So I'm from Nairobi, Kenya, and I've been part of the Fab community since 2014, and mainly working with different maker spaces. I've worked with the Fab Lab Nairobi, with Gearbox Kenya, and with Fab Lab Winam in the western region of Kenya. And right now, I'm almost like I'm on a macroscopic view of the Fab Labs here in Kenya. Because I work for an organization called Africa Stocking, but however, I collaborate with different makers, maker spaces, hubs, and individual entrepreneurs. So let me share my screen. The title of my talk today, I have called it Fabable Innovations. Is it visible?
Yes, it is.
Yes, I have called it Fabable Innovations for COVID-19 in Africa. So just exploring some of the different projects that have been undertaken. I've tried to give it a wider prospect and including more people, more innovators and more, maybe even like other countries that are not Kenya. But then I'll focus on the ones that I've interacted with and have been able to kind of work with. To introduce the situation here in Kenya. Right now, our cases are at 1,161. We've had 50 deaths and 380 have recovered. So we are not badly off in terms of the pandemic. We are containing it, and most of our borders are closed, and we are not under lockdown at all. We are more of under curfew. So we work during the day and we have a curfew of 7 p.m. So it's not critical yet. So just to begin this, so the challenges that we've been addressing as the Maker community here is mainly things like water and sanitation, and we are aware that most of the people who are living below the poverty line are dealing with water access problems, and that has been something that has been puzzling a lot of the people in this region, is that to ensure that whoever needs water, solutions for being able to wash their hands, having access to hand washing stations, face shields and masks, and that is possible for them. We're also looking at contact tracing. Our public transportation systems are very crowded scenes for us, and we don't. We feel like that could be a very big channel for transmission. So we're also looking at solutions that are able to track the contacts who move in from city to city and across borders. To be able to address the issue of transmission. The other challenge we are also anticipating is medical problems. We've also been learning from other countries and other continents on how people are having problems breathing. So we are looking at things like building solutions on ventilators, oxygen concentrators, and possibly testing kits, though that is more of a long-term plan. So moving on, some of the things that are special to in terms of design that we have to really factor in are things like low cost. If we create things that are too costly, there are a lot of people who might not be able to be able to buy them or access them. Then most of the solutions we make also are battery powered and possibly solar powered, especially for people who are living in the rural areas and have no access to electricity. So the solutions we make have to factor that in. We also think about using manual manipulation or pneumatic systems that also like take away the electrical or electronic automation aspect of design. Then of course there's ease of use and things that we can be able to make locally and easily accessible to the people in the local community and can be made fast. So speed is a big aspect. Then, of course, for medical equipment, we're also looking to be able to still make them as precise as the industrial grade as the industrial grade equipment. So then we also work collaboratively across maker spaces. So some maker spaces like Gearbox have more industrial manufacturing capabilities than the ones in the university, like the University of Nairobi Makerspace. So the collaborative effort comes in where the university-based Fab Labs will be able to do more R&D, and they would have more muscle in terms of students to ideate and build. And then the maker spaces that are more industrial, like Gearbox, are able to kind of, really, they're able to now make the products and then maybe like look at go-to-market strategies. So some of the solutions that have come up in terms of water and sanitation, we're looking at hand washing stations. So there's two types of hand washing stations that have come up. So one is looking at a way to automate the hand washing sessions. Let me briefly play a tiny video for this. So that is an innovation that has been created in West Africa. So this was part of a community that we built of makers and innovators across the African continent, and we have a sort of virtual hackathon that we do on the social media, and different people are coming up with different innovation. And this is one of them that came up from Ghana, and it's just a touchless tap that you can attach to any bucket, and it will be able to dispense water on demand. So it takes away the idea of touching surfaces and touching taps. On the right, we're looking at a pneumatic system. A pneumatic system which is controlled by the foot pedal. At the bottom, you can see that it's controlled by foot pedal, and it's 100% does not need electricity to operate, and that will solve the problems of people who are living.
But we're just seeing half of your screen. Can you cancel full mode screen to see the full slide? We are not able to see the full slide. There you go. Can you try it again and see if we can see it? Yeah, there we can see it at least. Here we just see half when you go on under the presentation. No, we just see half of your screen.
Okay. Let me just and if it's that,
or put it a little bit bigger maybe, and then we can maybe see it, because when you go under present mode, we can just see half of the slide.
Okay, let me zoom. Okay, is it better?
A little bit. We can still see just half now. I think it's your screen wide. F11. Can you press F11 on your computer and see if we can see it better?
F11. F11.
On the right side. Nope, we're seeing the same thing. I think there we can see it better. Maybe you can move it a little bit higher, to see in the middle of it, because we're seeing it in a different way as you are seeing it, I'd say.
No. I think in the middle of it, because we're.
Can you try sharing again and see if we can?
Is it any better now?
Kind of, yeah. I think you can continue don't go under present mode, because we cannot see the whole presentation.
Oh, okay. All right. So the hand washing, I've already covered the hand washing solutions. So then, of course, then we have to factor in the rural areas where people do not have taps or running water. So most of the innovations for rural areas are based on putting water in buckets or putting them in actual containers, and then finding ways to make that contact free. As you can see from the pictures, those are some of the interesting solutions that are coming up. Wow.
Yeah, you need to go again under the little magnifying glass under there, just to put it, yeah, in the little, yeah, there on the zoom, and then fit screen. Go fit or 100, yeah. Okay.
All right. Oh, thank you. Okay, another thing I would like to cover is ventilators. So there are different designs for ventilators that have come up. So the first one that you can see, let me zoom on that a little bit. This first one is made by students from Kenyatta University in Nairobi, Kenya. This is a project that is ongoing, and it's also government supported for some research and development that's going on for the ventilators. Then the other innovation is made by a private startup within still Nairobi. This is 100% 3D printed, and of course it's using one of those ambu bags. And this prototype is actually ready, just ready to go into mass manufacturing. So then below there, you can see it's more of a, this is one of the prototypes being worked on in Rwanda. They're also working on a ventilator design, not yet completed, but still in the progress. Then when we go below, when we continue, wow, this is harder than I thought. Yes, so the next, yeah, so this one is also another prototype that was made in Ghana. It's made by using Arduino and some locally available tools that uses like servo motors and batteries. So this is something that they're working on using the resources that they have. This is a conceptual design by the Maker Faire University that is also in the pipeline, that is going to be worked on and also made into like a fully fledged ventilator. So there's a lot of innovation, especially in the ventilator sector. There's a lot of innovation around that. I couldn't cover all of them, but these are some of the examples of what's coming up. Then maybe just to make it interesting, let me try and play this video of this. This was made in Ghana. So that's a basic model of a ventilator using very locally available material. You can see it's not something that they had to go and buy off the shelf. It's also battery powered, so it also takes away the strain of having to source for electricity for people who do not have electricity. So then also for face protection, there's also a lot of work going on face protection. So from the face shields to the masks that have some 3D printing incorporated. This is also done in West Africa. This is made somewhere in Ghana. The one on the left is 3D printing being done in mass here in Nairobi. These are all PPEs being produced in mass, and some of these industrial grade kind of ultimakers that are producing this for sale for the mass market. I cannot estimate the exact numbers that are being made per day or per session, but you can see that the production is not on a small scale. Another project we are working on here at the University of Nairobi is to create an oxygen concentrator. This is not the exact picture of it. Most of the information about this is proprietary, so I would not share the actual design of it. But then we are looking at creating an oxygen concentrator that will work alongside the respirator, and this is gonna be able to create the right concentrations of oxygen for any person who has respiratory distress. Then also just contact tracing, just like I talked about earlier. contact tracing is important. As you can see, these are public transport. This is what it looks like. So in Nairobi, we call this matatus. This is what people use like to move around, and they're very crowded and people feel in. I mean, in West Africa, they call them trotros. In South Africa, they call them taxi ranks, but it's kind of a similar situation. So these are the places where a lot of transmission is anticipated to kind of happen. So part of the solution that have come up are software related. So a mobile application that uses USSD. So here, this link takes us to the story around that. So it uses USSD codes for people who don't have access to internet. And using those USSD codes, you're able to know which people boarded which vehicle, and if you're able to trace like which vehicle they used on this day, on that day, and the people who are within that vehicle, you'll be able to know like who contacted somebody who had maybe COVID-19. So this is also we are trying to push this. This was a collaboration between Fab Lab Winam and some of the software hubs in Western Kenya, Kisumu. And it's still they're looking for a partnership with the county government and with the national government to make this public. So we also hope that will come into the mainstream. And also because our biggest issue right now is being able to really track contact, because most of the infections that are coming into Kenya are coming through air travel. So people come in by air and then go to the inner parts of the country by road. So we need to know where they went and which kind of transportation they used. Some of the challenges that have been experienced during this process are things like regulation. So trying to get people to loosen up on regulations, especially on medical designs. And the government has been very supportive for Kenya. For Kenya, they've been able to open up for standardization of some of the local innovation with the Kenya Bureau of Standards. And this quote I've put here is something I've seen that is happening in South Africa. The approval has to go through the European Union for them to come up with things like ventilators and medical equipment. So this has been a regular concern for most countries, but I'm glad for our country that we've been able to tackle that, and our government has come in to support the innovators who are building solutions for this pandemic. Then for mass manufacturing, it's still an issue for us. Pardon?
1 minute.
Okay, so mass manufacturing is also a bit of a challenge for us. We are not able to go into like the maybe hundreds of thousands or millions in production per person. So what's happening is that the market is distributed, and most people who are building these solutions are building them from their homes. So as long as we don't have too many cases, we are able to handle the issues. So there's some opportunities we see also, like creating touchless innovations for either electricity, dustbins and doors, exploring more pneumatic systems, and being able to try and build locally made test kits and incorporating robots and drones. Some of this work has been done in Rwanda, and we also want to see like more local people doing stuff with robotics and drones, and of course home gardening solutions for in case there's food problems. I hope I have in time. So thank you.
Thank you, Felicity. Thank you, Felicity. Now we're going with Beno from Latin America. He's gonna do like a little tour over all Latin America, I would say. In 8 minutes, that's gonna be a challenge. So thank you, Beno.
Thank you so much, Super Nuria, and it's great to be here with you, with everybody. So let me share you my desktop. Well, we know life will not be the same. We are changing many different ways. We are changing the way that we use commerce, we enjoy it. So exponential challenge as the COVID means also exponential response. And I will show to share with you some exponential activities that we in the Fab Lab community in general, and specific here in one of the principles of our community is the democratization of the knowledge. So before COVID, we shared experience in our channel, no? And it was really, really helpful for everybody to know in advance what people are doing. How can we know and take this knowledge of the world and recreate a strategy in the case of COVID about how can we face the pandemic. No? So thanks to the experience of all the Fab community in Latin America, we create a map. What do we need to face the pandemic in different fields, not only in the research, also in distribution and the feedback, etc., connected in different scales, in global, national, local, and personal. So really helpful because, for example, experience as Nuria, you know, and the community of Spain, Fabbers, Spain, it was really helpful in the early stages of, because we learn a lot. We learn, for example, don't 3D print. They say to us, please don't 3D print. We are passionate for 3D printing. And say, don't 3D print. Please think fast, think that you have faster. Don't packing individually. So all these things, what things we want in our different communities in that. No, we are assembling, we are cleaning, we are innovating, but they say don't do that. No, come to the people, go with the products before the. So all these products have to be delivered before pandemic comes. So helpful for us. Also, the information as shared with us also. No, for example, to jump from hundreds. No, we have to in some different. We have to stop Maker and start to think as a help people scale our mentality of production and our lab to connect with the high industry. No? So it was a really interesting process, but the challenge at the beginning was how can we make this better? So it was interesting to see that thanks to this information and community, we could down for example, the mask from more or less $20 to less than $1 in less than, no? And it was thanks to the community because that maybe you have used, I don't know, no, or injection, etc. No, as we saw in patients. So it was really valuable for us to take time. No, so the principle is the democratization of the technology. Of course, I really happy and passionate to see Latin America jumping directly to the action, no, as Neil said. So, and also, how can we link this gap in between the big industry as we discussed in the talk with, no? So that's interesting because at the end, no, we have this connection in between the makers and the traditional makers and fabbers have this capability of this responsiveness higher than the others. No, we jump to the action. We can start to produce products faster in less than 1 week, for example, than all traditional industry took. No, for example, they took like 1. But here there is some symbiosis because all the transfer to traditional industry to reduce the risk, and they start to massively, but we create this connection. That was amazing. And finally, we have this other principle, the democratization of community. And this was extremely important because we jump from this tradition to way that for one product has to be produced or imported, just to this. No, this is the essential subsidy model. You have raw material and information from different parts of the world, and you can distribute it, fabrication and deliver it. No? So, for example, the experience in Santiago, they have also platforms for distributed manufacturing in different scales, as Santiago and Yucatan in Mexico, and also we have in country scale as Venezuela and hacking COVID, and we have also, and also in Brazil, and we have also regional scale as our platform, Fab Lab, that I will show you a little bit, is here. You can find here, of course, different actors. Here the makers, the Fab Labs, the tradition, everybody joining. This is part of the biggest lesson we had with this pandemic. For a common goal and start together. So I think the more question is not how many products that we made, the question is who we are after this process. And after this process, I think we are more humble, more integrated, and more solidary with the people. What I love of this picture, we are working together really. This is part of our spirit from the network. We are doing, and we are showing to the world that we could be a response. Of course, medical people are in the first lane, no, in the first of the pandemic, but after they support of these people are the makers, are the fathers. So I'm happy for this response of the community, and I'm very proud about how could we integrate efforts with everybody, not only in makers, with the high industry and with the makers in very remote areas as we can find the jungle or in the Andean community, etc. Thank you so much for this opportunity, and well, happy to share more information with the community.
Thank you, Beno. You went so fast and you are doing so much things. I would say whoever is interested in chatting with Beno, they can do it through the chat or through the live Q&A. Now we're going with May. She will be representing Middle East and her network.
Hello, everybody. I'm so proud to be with you here today. So today my presentation is a little bit different. I'm so honored that I'm going to be representing Middle East here, and what I want to go through is actually the efforts of most of the Fab Labs I could contact within the Middle East countries. And it's been an amazing journey trying to contact everybody and gather stories and gather efforts. And it's been really, really inspiring. And I'm so honored to be here. So allow me to share my screen. Okay. Okay, can you see my screen now? Okay. So first of all, let me give you an introduction about myself. My name is May, as obviously, and I've been in the Maker community and the Fab Labs for around maybe around 8 years, between making and between Fab Academy and between education, STEM education as well, design thinking, innovation. And now I work as the education manager in Giz Systems Foundation. It's an NGO here in Egypt. Concerned with technology and maker spaces and education and paying back to the community. But also a year ago, we launched an amazing initiative across the Arab region, a group of us around the Arab countries in Jordan and in Lebanon and in Qatar and UAE and everywhere. I'll be sharing the experiences to launch the Fab Arab Network, where we can get together and actually see how we can support our region and our Fab Labs here in the region, as well as the maker spaces, to do more. So, so while gathering the stories, there has been amazing journey that every Fab Lab has done and every maker spaces has done in the Middle East here is they didn't start producing first. They actually went down to the community and gathered and understood what is actually required. What are the needs of every country? Because each country, there has been different needs and different priorities. And after that, they went back to the lab, gather actually a lot of volunteers and a lot of teams in their lab to be working on designing solutions and prototype, and going out there and testing with doctors, testing with public, and testing with authorities to be able to really produce something that is really helpful. And the last thing, and the last stage was actually not just prototyping and designing one thing, but actually going for collaboration with other places, with other NGOs, with fundraising efforts, with industry as well, so that we can able to be producing a mass production and move from not just prototyping, but actually to mass production. So the tour I'm going to take you through it is going to be through Egypt, Lebanon, Jordan, Kuwait, Oman, and Qatar. And the amazing thing about this journey is it's not just about the technicality. So you'll see some efforts as an R&D effort, but also in something like awareness and educational effort, which really amazing. So starting with Egypt, this is where I come from. So my foundation, Giza Foundation, along with all the Fab Labs we're managing, Project Nitrous, Sohaig, and Fayoum. We started thinking about what can we do. We went out there and talked to the doctors, and we came up with 5 aspects actually. One is a stage that we can do prevention, production. One is with detection, one with mild infection, and one with severe infection with like ICU. But also not just the technicalities, but we saw that since we work with education and children's, we saw that according to the lockdown and the curfew, children have been also going through hard situation. So we did some solutions for that. So for example of the solution, as you all said, we went through the face shield process, and we also started with the Prusa one. And then we moved, as you see in the picture, through maybe like 7 different designs to try to optimize the production. We started by producing maybe 5. And now using the injection molding, we're producing more than 2,000 per day. And we have distributed across Egypt more, I guess, than 20,000 face shield, only face shield. But the amazing thing about this is that we collaborated with other entities to do something like an organization who is doing a protection gown. And collaborating with them, we actually now delivering a full kit with the face shield and the gown across Egypt. But also it was really amazing seeing the community coming together and also collaborating with the delivery services, who actually helped us moving forward to everywhere. And also on the educational side, we created this education/awareness campaign for kids at home, where you get a challenge every week, and it's related to understanding COVID-19, prototyping, communicating with your family, and you can actually send that, and we announce the winners. Also, we are also having some prototypes that are in the phase of prototyping yet. As you said, the ventilators and this isolation box used for the doctors. Going to Jordan from Egypt, an amazing initiative by Fab Lab Urbit and TechWorks. Two big Fab Labs in Jordan would come together to produce face shields and also ventilators of oxygen and communicating with doctors and hospitals to actually distribute that as well. And also another Fab Lab, another makerspace in Jordan has been doing an amazing initiative in underprivileged zones. Children faces a little bit increase in the domestic violence because of the lockdown. And they created, and the parents are daily workers who face financial issues. And we're coming up to like Eid and celebrations. So they created this kit for children with stuffed toys, soap, that is soap, magazine, and masks. And all of that is locally produced by the makerspace and the team and the community around it. Moving to Lebanon, Barry Tech Fab Lab has initiated an amazing initiative for health tech solutions. bringing up everybody on board to brainstorm for solutions for COVID-19 situation, along with support, tech support, and also financial support for that. And they've created an amazing bunch of solutions, which I want to highlight. The aerosol box, which is, as you see, also for the protection of the doctors using the incubation of the patients. And it protects the doctors from all the spray and any liquid fluid that they can deal with the patients, and also the face shields. And what I really love about Lebanon face shield is that it's fully covered. It's not just from the front, but it just covers everything from the head to the face. But also one of the amazing solutions that they got is that platform for quarantine facilities list. So they tried to collaborate with the Ministry of Health in Lebanon to actually do this platform so people can find the certified quarantine facility near them and actually go to that instead of just not knowing where to go. Moving to Oman, this is an amazing story actually. Inotech is an educational company. But when COVID-19 happened, they used their maker spaces and tech team to design a DIY ventilator. And what is really beautiful about the story is that this DIY ventilator has been approved by the Ministry of Health in Oman, and it started a huge collaboration between them and between the government, where the government facilitated logistics, materials, mass production for the ventilators, and it's now going like crazy. Moving to Kuwait, Kuwait has actually another amazing story focusing on the testing and the test equipment. So they made the swap with 3D printers and cottons and a simple bag with some solution to help doctors detect really quickly COVID-19. And the great story here is that this makerspace is inside the Ministry of Health and under its direct supervision. So it was really amazing seeing the government embracing that. Moving to Qatar, Qatar had a really different experience, which I really loved, is that they focused on the awareness and the educational side. So Cubic Fab Lab focused on launching a series of online workshops where the students and participants can make it at home. But also they launched a hackathon for COVID-19 solutions and a series of seminars bringing people from across the region and across the world to talk about different topics and bringing the community together. Going to Saudi Arabia, and actually this initiative had a similar one in Jordan by Fab Lab Urban. They created a competition and a challenge for you to make something at home in whatever field and with whatever something you have to encourage people to think creatively, and also for research and for having fun and doing stuff at home, actually. So, and the last thing, we as a network, all of us together, we just initiated a series of webinar called What's Next. And we aim in this webinar to collectively think together about the next phase and what we can do, tackling different topics like education, even managing your Fab Lab in such a state, business and entrepreneurship, and whatever topic that we really want to discuss our future together. Because one thing that that was really, really obvious and was really amazing from what happened in the world is that the culture with the maker community in the MENA region has changed from being just or seen just like some extra for fun amateur activities to actually being very important and very crucial for our situation, because the maker spaces and the Fab Labs are the ones who stepped up in the situation and helped the community actually produce solutions and not just stay there out of fear. So they actually accelerated that. We wanted to come together as well as a network to think about that. And that's a wrap up. Thank you.
Thank you so much, May. And I know we ran out of time and we were supposed to have live Q&A, but I think it was important to showcase what everyone had to bring to the table. We invite everyone that is in this panel that we will continue the conversation through Fab Foundation channels. We will try to bring each one of this amazing showcase that one of you individually did and bring the people that actually did it in different sessions over the next couple of weeks. So this is the start of showcasing what the community is doing, how the community is bringing themselves together, helping their own local needs with local solutions. I think this brings the big point of what Fab Labs are doing here in the world and how we can change the world. So thank you so much. I know we ran out of time, but we will continue the conversation through other channels, through the Fab Cloud, through social media platforms. So follow us and we will be in touch. So thank you so much for everyone here involved and see you soon.
Thank you, Norella.
Bye-bye. Thank you.